Thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate you. And we have Louis here from All American Staffing. He's a staffing agency owner and a veteran like myself. So I was really excited to hear that you're going to come out and film with us today. Honestly, because our main goal is to tell people the keys to our success. Give them something that they can walk away with when we're done with this conversation, and more importantly, learn a little bit about you and your company. What you're about. What clients that you're staffing, and what your business is all about. So we'll get into that. So if you can tell us a little bit about your background. Mine, I did 9 years in the Marine Corps, so we have that in common. You being in the Navy, I don't know if you deployed or had any time overseas, but if you want to start there and tell us, how was your military service? What did it teach you, and then how did it prepare you to become a staffing owner?
Sure. So I actually went in right out of high school, 19 years old.
Okay.
In 1999. I was deployed a couple of times.
Okay.
All right. I did actually work with a couple of the Marines, a couple of Army guys and everything. Yeah. It was fun. Been in the ship, traveled all over the world. When I came back, I did not know what to do, so I started looking for work. When I started looking for work, I actually ran into what it was called staffing and recruiting. I was doing general labor work, doing warehousing work, and learned my way around that. From there, they taught me how to become a recruiter, because the recruiter apparently just had left, and they asked me if I wanted to take the opportunity. I did. Within a week, I kind of had to memorize everything and learned it. Once I learned all of that, they were teaching me a little bit more, took some responsibilities. I also did the NBA All-Star games when they came here to Florida. And I kind of got into it, and I kind of actually liked doing all of that. And I'm going to help out people in the community itself to, look for more work.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, I did about 13 years just recruiting, staffing and recruiting for a whole bunch of different companies.
Okay.
And I decided to do it on my own.
Yeah.
But before I did that, I kind of took a break on all the office work and everything. I started doing security for a different company, and did that for a few years. And then when I realized that, my passion was mostly on staffing, I decided to go ahead and start opening my own business, get a few contracts, and just been going forward ever since.
Yeah, and I think, as veterans, when you think about your story, it's like you kind of learn how to persevere, because that's not easy, getting out of the military and then starting something completely brand new. It's not easy for any of us, Yeah,
it's kind of like a new transition from, being a military, getting everything that, the good pay, paying them for your housing and everything, and then doing everything on your own.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different transition, and especially, having the military life that, certain hours have to get certain things done, a tight schedule, to go into a civilian one and just
create your own?
Yeah, you have to create your own, figure out what you're going to do,
Absolutely. And that's the thing too, the military, like you said, everything is structured. So you know what you're going to do when you get there, right? You know how much you're going to get paid. You know what it takes to get to the next rank, right? You know what the performance measurements are. And then as an entrepreneur, really, you don't have any of that. You have to build all that from scratch, and that's why, it's a good conversation when we talk about what you look for in providers that help you with your staffing agency, specifically like a PEO, like Key HR, so let's go into that. Like, what does that mean for you, for your staffing agency? What does Key HR or a PEO do for you?
Well, it does help me out with, especially like payroll, workers' comp, because, we're in an area that, people might get hurt. They're going to need that type of help,
right?
For their medical bills and things like that. And, with them, I'm able to provide that type of service for them as well.
Right.
It protects the employee, but also protects my company as well from anything.
Right. And it goes back into it too. Like, you're not an expert in all of the different labor laws and payroll and human resources. You have a full staff here to help you for it.
Yeah, and that's the perfect thing that I've been looking for, because, the ones that I've used before, everything, I had to make sure that everything was done properly. I had to be on top of everything. Hopefully, with this, I'm going to be able to, take that keeping an eye on it all the time, just to make sure everything's running correctly.
Right. And not actually having to do it yourself.
Exactly.
Which is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, when you're talking about your journey, how has it been over the last year and a half with All American Staffing? Like, tell us a little bit about your company.
So I'm not going to say it's been perfect. There's been steps, that you have fallen down. You still either have to get up and things like that. And being prior military, we kind of don't give up. We kind of keep going,
Right.
even if we're down.
100%.
But it's been a little bit of a struggle because, there's a lot of competition. It's not only, small staffing company going against big staffing companies.
Right.
But little by little, we have been, putting ourselves out there more. We've been working a lot harder than a lot of other companies.
Yeah.
The thing that I pride myself about it, that we provide the quality people that they need. We go more for quality than quantity.
Right.
That's one thing that we, separates us from any other staffing companies.
Yeah, and still as you're, in the maturation stage and as you're growing your staffing firm, what do you think over the last year and a half you can partake on some of the people that are going to be seeing this that are in staffing that are just starting out? What do you want them to know, man?
Not to give up.
Right.
Yeah, just keep trying. Trust me. It's not going to be easy. It is hard work. It's how much work you put in. I still remember to this day a quote, a lazy person would want, how come I'm not getting this yet? How come I'm not getting this type of money that I'm supposed to be getting? A hardworking person will always be thinking, did I do enough for the day? I should do a little bit more and put that extra more hour, extra couple of days to it.
Right.
When you're starting, trust me, I started working all 7 days. I didn't have a day off or nothing like that.
Right. So persistence and consistency.
Of course.
And what are some of maybe the administrative challenges now that a PEO is helping you with, like KHR? What were some of those that you saw that could blindside an early startup?
The I-9s.
Okay.
The E-Verifies.
Okay.
Just to make sure that, people are eligible to work here and things like that. I know that with this right here, they're going to help me with that because automatically comes over in the application.
Yep.
So
It
that's
does.
one of the best things that could help me out with. The other thing is, with the payroll part, is helping me with the hours, making sure that everything is put correctly and none of that. I don't have to go back just to make sure that, if I messed up in anything, they told me that they're going to tell me, hey, you need to get this one fixed or you're missing this hours.
Right.
And that will be the best thing because it will be easier.
To be compliant with all the
Yeah.
taxes and everything else that you have to make sure you're taking
Exactly.
out. That's awesome, man. And, so you said, just work hard, be consistent. That's the biggest thing. What do you want to tell them when it comes to taking that next step? Like, how did you take that next step to where you are now, where you need a service provider? What did it take for you to get to that point outside of that? What inside of your business? Was it getting better at recruiting? Was it finding better clients? What do you recommend staffing startups focus on when they first start out to grow?
So when they start focusing, once they want to start growing, they should focus on the recruiters that they're going to have.
Okay.
Not only that, but also to make sure that they have the right company that's going to provide them those type of services that they're
Okay.
going to need.
Yeah.
Because if you have the wrong type of company, because I had that as well.
Did you?
Yes.
So what happened?
Basically, payroll, the hours would not be done correctly. I would have to resend it back, have them redo it again, send it back to me. And just doing that throughout the week, it takes away your time because then you cannot go out, look for clients or nothing like that. I had a different also finance company too that waited past their 30 days for the client to pay. So they would charge me a lot more.
So the recourse was on you.
Yes.
And they didn't get their stuff in order.
Correct. So then I would have to stop whatever I was doing to get in contact with the client to make sure that they pay on time because I'm getting, charged even a lot more now.
Right.
That used to go from 1.8% to almost 4%.
Right. Is that every week? Was that every week?
Yes.
Right. So you're getting, yeah, that's a good segue into, really what at Frontline Funding we would like to educate people on are these type of stories again. So if I heard you correctly, is you're with the funding company and, a factoring company should manage your accounts receivable really well.
Correct.
And that wasn't managed for you.
Not at all. I had to do it myself.
So you had to manage your accounts receivable yourself. And then you ended up getting a fee because of that.
Correct.
Right. And that's a big issue that we're seeing a lot. And that's why factoring companies sometimes get a bad name, and that's why at Frontline Funding, that accounts receivable management is really important. So what do you look for? Like, what are maybe like the 2 or 3 things you're looking for in a factoring company and why you're going to go with Frontline?
So honesty is the main thing for me.
Okay.
I'm a person that if I'm working hard, I want the people that are with me work hard as well. you know. So working hard, honesty, and loyalty.
Sure.
You know, I understand that I'm not the biggest company out there,
Yeah.
but treat me as well like if I was the biggest company out there as well as you treat your small companies.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the main thing that
Yeah.
I normally look for.
Yeah, and pure communication. One thing I'm seeing in the factoring world too is, you got hit with a recourse charge and you didn't even know that it was your job to manage it, which it wasn't, right? And so pure communication, like you're talking about, is huge, and the fine details. That's what a lot of people end up fighting with factoring companies about, is not getting into the nitty-gritty fine details of how the funding is going to work and the life cycle of it. So that's a huge point that we hit on. Is there anything else at all, while we wrap this up, that you kind of want to let your viewers know, or anybody that's looking to work for you? If you could talk to maybe a business that you would like to work for, what would you tell them?
The thing that I would tell future clients is that, we are completely different than staffings. We go for quality people for them,
Sure.
On every candidate that we provide, we make sure that they, get drug tested. We do a background check before we send them out.
Sure.
With the client, we'll make sure that, all their payroll and everything is always done on time, and that they always become our priority. It doesn't matter if we have 50 clients or even if we have 5 clients. Every client will always be priority for our company.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know we heard, we can tell working hard is what they're going to get out of you, right?
Yes.
Dedication. And, for anybody that's looking to work with Luis in the future, as a veteran, he's not going to stop until he gets the job exactly the way it needs to be. And that's a promise I know that we like to keep, because we like to see things to the end, man.
Yeah, that's true.
We do not like to start something and not finish it.
Yep.
So I think that's huge. And then if we can let people know, before we end it, we like to know what are the keys to your success? What are some of the things you want to let them know? Like, what would you say the top thing is for the key to your success?
Dedication. Dedication is the main thing for me.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be days, yes, we are humans. We're going to wake up and we're going to be like, oh, I don't feel like going to work today. I don't even feel like doing nothing today. And there's days that I feel like that, but you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You got to keep your feet on the ground. You got to keep
Exactly.
moving. Well, that's how it was, man. That's what we needed.